You are not going to believe what we've got today, so get comfortable, smash that like button, and let's get straight to it. Because there's a behind-the-scenes detail that could flip this defense on its head, and another one that hits the Niner gang right in the gut. At the same time, a name most people wrote off is earning real respect in this pass rush. And that changes how you survive in December. And there's a veteran being rushed into the middle of the storm, with a warning label attached. I need you locked in today, because one small detail can change how you see this entire playoff push. And I want your take, so don't be shy in the comments. And when I say something could flip this defense on its head, I'm talking about one name who changes the mood of a locker room by himself, Fred Warner. Yeah, Fred Warner. The All-Pro we watched go down in Week 6 with a dislocated and fractured right ankle in a moment that felt like the end of the movie. A lot of people instantly stamped it, season over. But in San Francisco, nothing is ever that simple. GM John Lynch didn't sugarcoat it. He called a playoff return a stretch. Basically, don't bet your house on it. But here's the dangerous part. He also made it clear that counting out Warner is a mistake. And that lights a fuse for the 49ers faithful, because this isn't just about whether he plays. It's about identity. Warner hears the noise, and he answered it the way you'd expect. Never say never. No promises, no miracle talk, just that door still cracked open. Then came the detail that actually shifts the vibe. He's off the scooter, off the crutches, and back on his feet. I'm back on my 10 toes, he said. But let's be real. Walking isn't planting and cutting. Walking isn't taking on a guard in the second level. The gap between I'm walking and I'm NFL ready is massive. Still, the progress is real and it's disciplined. Underwater treadmill work to loosen up, then the weight room, upper and lower body, and the big focus, range of motion and strength inside that range. And the part that makes you lean in? He said he's already doing light on field work. Light turns into limited. Limited turns into questionable. And then one day, it's active when nobody wants to believe it. Tactically, this matters more than people realize. With Bosa out and the defense patched together, Warner isn't just a linebacker. He's the traffic controller. He gets guys lined up, cleans up mistakes before the snap, and sets the physical tone. Without him, you lose communication and you lose clarity in the middle. With him, even at 80%, you gain structure, confidence, and that psychological edge that makes an offense hesitate. On Sunday against the Titans, expect to see Warner walking the field before kickoff, and even that by itself is a message. The question is it just symbolic, or is it the start of a comeback that could light up January? Because if this team, 9-4, riding a 3-game win streak, gets into the playoffs after missing out in 2025, with Warner lurking in the background, the entire conversation changes. And speaking of the conversation changing, let's talk about the pass rush. Because the moment Nick Bosa was lost for the season, it was like the 49ers hung a giant help wanted sign over that unit. You could feel the defense hunting for anyone, who could swing 3rd and long back in their favor. Bryce Huff has stepped up with energy and some timely pressure. The move for Keion White was another clear attempt to inject power off the edge, and he's had moments that make you think, okay, this can matter in January. But the most satisfying story is the one a lot of people didn't see coming. Clelin Ferrell. Yeah, Ferrell. The former 2019 first-round pick who carried the reach label for years and became an easy punchline. But in Santa Clara, the evaluation changes when you start winning one-on-ones. And that's exactly what Robert Saleh is seeing. He said it straight. This isn't fake. It's not empty production. Ferrell is beating guys, getting to the quarterback, and playing with effort and violence. The good kind, the football kind. Here's the jolt. Ferrell is tied with Huff for the team lead in sacks, and he hasn't even been here that long. No, he's not turning into Nick Bosa, and sacks aren't everything. But when a player most people stop tracking becomes the name showing up on 3rd downs on the tape, that changes protections. It changes how a quarterback steps into the pocket. It changes how coordinators call plays. The smart part for the 49ers is the role fit. Ferrell doesn't have to be a star. He has to be dependable. Set the edge, play with a nonstop motor, and pop up for 2 or 3 game-changing snaps. That's how playoff defenses are built. Not with one hero, but with pressure coming from everywhere. So imagine this. What happens if Ferrell stays real over these last 4 weeks? Because if that continues, The next part of today gets even more tense. The answer in the middle of the defense might be coming from a place nobody expected. And if the edge is finally getting answers, the middle of this defense is basically a stress test. When you lose Fred Warner and Nick Bosu in the same season, it's not just talent you lose. It's structure, leadership, and that calm voice that keeps everyone aligned. That's why this next name matters, Eric Kendricks. When the 49ers signed Kendricks to the practice squad, the reaction was curiosity mixed with doubt. Does he still have it? But context matters. He's coming off a solid year in Dallas where he piled up 138 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 2 interceptions. That's not nothing. It's actually wild he went unsigned as long as he did. Maybe he was waiting for a real opportunity. Maybe the market just looked past a 33-year-old linebacker. Either way, with San Francisco's injury chaos, it's a logical fit. Tatum Bethune tried to hold it down after Warner went down, and now he's banged up too. Curtis Robinson plays hard, but he's still raw with reads and positioning. D. Winters has done a respectable job on the weak side, and rookie Nick Martin has talent, but you can tell the staff doesn't fully trust him in high-leverage moments yet. That's how Kendricks becomes more than depth. He becomes an emergency plan you might actually need. The catch? His body. Right away, he's dealing with calf tightness, which is understandable for a guy who hasn't played all year. But it's also a warning. The 49ers may end up leaning on a veteran who's still trying to get his legs under him. And that tells you everything about how brutal this season has been. Nothing came easy. Every win felt like a fight. Every adjustment came with a cost. But if Kendricks can stay healthy and get up to speed fast, he can stabilize the chaos in the middle. He doesn't have to dominate. He has to be reliable. He has to be in the right spot when an offense tries to attack the seams. Because in December, one bad linebacker step turns into 6 points. And speaking of things that change an offense and hit the locker room emotionally, what comes next is heavy. Because this one isn't just schematic. It's personal. Brandon Aiyuk. Just saying the name changes the tone. Inside that locker room, it feels like guys are starting to accept the reality that he probably isn't coming back this season. And the darker thought, that his last snap in red and gold might have already happened. The clock is working against him. Aiyuk is still rehabbing ACL and MCL injuries from last season, and the 49ers still haven't medically cleared him to even open his practice window. With only 4 regular season games left, every week that passes without that step is basically an answer, without anyone having to say it. Then there's the detail that poured gasoline on the speculation. San Francisco voided Aiyuk's guaranteed money for 2026, and reports suggest he didn't contest it. That's big. When there's a fight, you feel there's still a bridge. When there's acceptance, it usually means both sides are emotionally preparing to move on. George Kittle put it in the most human way possible. He basically admitted he tries not to think about it because it hurts. Because Aiyuk isn't just a receiver, he's a teammate you build memories with. But Kittle was also real. The focus has to be on the guys who are here, the guys who want to be here. And that line hits hard for a team trying to stay together through a storm. For Brock Purdy, losing Aiyuk means losing one of his most dependable answers against man coverage. Quick separation, explosive YAC, and something people forget, run blocking. Purdy praised the complete package without diving into any off-field stuff, but you could hear the respect. And when Kittle describes Aiyuk, you understand the void. Freak athlete, ridiculous speed, sudden stops, huge vertical, long wingspan, and a bully mentality that affects the run game. Pair him with Juwan Jennings, and you've got 2 wideouts who love to hit, and that's when your ground attack becomes nasty. That's why he was paid like a top guy. So here's the question nobody wants to face. Can this offense keep its identity without him? Because answering that is the key to everything we talked about today. So when you hear all this, don't just sit on it, talk to me. At the end of the day, today showed you exactly who these 49ers are, a team that refuses to fold. There's the quiet hope of Fred Warner, the unexpected rise of Clelin Ferrell, the urgent gamble on Eric Kendricks, and the very real pain of moving forward without Brandon Aiyuk, all at once. It's heavy, it's messy, and it's exactly what football in December feels like. Now I want it from you. What storyline changes this season the most? Drop it in the comments, argue it out with the Niner gang, smash like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update, because this ride is not over.